Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, and today I'm going to be discussing schools are failing young men, which affects their future. One more time, schools are failing young men, which affects their future. So let's get right to it here. All right, this is from the website USA Today, and the title is Boys in Crisis, Schools Are Failing Young Males. Here's what needs to change in classrooms. Imagine being bombarded with a chorus of pay attention, stop fidgeting, don't touch that, yet that's what many boys experience in school every day. Well, that's because of the way these boys are being raised. And by the time they get into, high school or college, they still haven't learned discipline and responsibility because of the way they were raised or their lack of parenting. This was written by Christopher Brewingsen. He's an opinion contributor, and it was written almost a year ago, October 9th, 2021. In a recent New York Times essay, it's become increasingly hard for them to feel good about themselves. Thomas Edsall reviews a variety of research studies highlighting the plight of young men in the United States. As a frontline educator who has worked in boys' schools for 30 years and served as the head of boys' school for the past 20 years, I've been an unhappy witness to this dilemma. Well, let's continue because here's where the answer is at. Here's what's going on. Data supports the claim that boys are falling behind, and dramatically so. For example, there is a growing gender gap in high school graduation rates. According to the Brookings Institution, in 2018, about 88% of girls graduated on time, compared with 82% of boys. Well, it's not that huge of a difference, but it is still a 6% difference. But wait till college comes around. I've been talking about this on my channel for quite some time, and here is the proof. For college enrollment, the gender gap is even more striking, with men now trailing women in higher education at record levels. Last year, women made up 60% of college students, while men accounted for only 40%. That is staggering. That's a 20% difference. No wonder why women are out earning men, which is what I'm trying to say. No wonder why women are struggling to find good, dateable men that, are able to do their part to provide and have a family. No wonder women are struggling in the dating world. This is it right here. According to statistics from the National Student Clearinghouse, college enrollment in the United States has declined by 1.5 million students over the past 5 years, with men accounting for 71% of that drop. That's because men are saying, screw college. We can go to trade school, or we can get a job where somebody will hire us based on skills we learned growing up, just tinkering around with things, which is what I'm trying to say. So, I can understand that, and there's no problem with not going to college, as long as you make something out of yourself and you have a career that pays you a decent amount of money. The circumstances affecting these outcomes start much earlier in life. During a boy's formative years, a study from 2013 points to family structure as a driver of boys' behavior and reported that by 8th grade, for children raised by single mothers, the school suspension rate is 25% higher for boys than girls. That's because, fathers over the last, 20, 30 years just aren't showing up for their kids. And they're just, leaving the mother high and dry. And that child, the boy, in this case, we're talking about boys, are not learning how to be a man. A woman can only do so much and teach her son or sons, morals, values, ethics, teach them empathy and all that. But they need a man, the father in their life, to teach them how to be a man, to see what masculine energy embodies and what it's all about. No disrespect to women. You can't teach boys to act like men when you're a woman, but you can nurture them and teach them empathy and morals, values, and ethics. But they need the father to discipline them and teach them responsibility. Yes, the mother can try to do that, but it's more effective when the father does it. That's why these boys are struggling, in my opinion. And in some cases, the men are, in the picture. The mom and dad are in the picture, but the woman is the breadwinner, and she's the more masculine one in the marriage, and the father is the more feminine one in the marriage, which confuses the boy or boys even further. That's what's happening. That's the truth. That's not to say that there aren't legions of single moms doing a fantastic job raising their kids. Well, they're doing the best they can with what they know and what they're able to do, right? But undeniably, there's an absence of dads crisis in our country, and that's where the problem is. These men nowadays, and it's become extremely apparent starting with the millennial generation, which, as of the time of this recording in 2022, the millennial men are age 25 to 40. It's become very, very apparent, why a lot of these men, don't have the greatest jobs. They lack motivation. They lack desire to make something out of themselves, right? They lack a purpose, which is what truly embodies masculine energy. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 18.3 million children, or 1 in 4, live without a biological step or adoptive father in the home. Yeah, it all boils down to a lack of having a father in the picture, or a father figure at least. There's a lack of male role models in our schools too. As of 2018, only 24% of all kindergarten through 12 teachers were men, according to the National Center for Education Statistics. Well, men just don't enjoy that career. And, I hate to say it, teachers are way underpaid. And most men are going to strive to make more money than a teacher's salary. So, yeah. So when you are lacking having a father or father figure in the home while growing up, and, it's only the mother doing it. And then when you're going to school, you're being taught primarily by women. These little boys are learning to be more feminine than masculine, right? They need a balance of both, and they're not getting it. The structure and climate in our schools are equally important influencers when it comes to scholastic success for young men. A major 2015 study, which collected data from nearly 5,000 subjects, concluded that school environments may be more attuned to feminine-type personalities, making it generally easier for girls to achieve better grades in school. Well, women, are getting what they need because most of the mothers are sticking around, and if the single mother is raising a female or a girl, the girl's going to get what she needs more so from her mother. Yes, she does need a father as well, because that will affect her in other aspects of her life, such as, her dating life in the future. Because, typically little girls, look up to their father as the role model of the type of guy they're going to be attracted to, right? And if they don't have that, it's going to affect them in that aspect. But when it comes to scholastics and stuff like that, the mother is going to be the one that's going to get them there, right? When it comes to men, it's going to be the father that's going to get them there. And that's just the truth. Let's see. Boys face more discipline. A 2016 report from the American Sociological Association concluded that the way teachers respond to boys' behaviors plays a significant role in shaping their educational outcomes years later. The study found that elementary school boys had much greater exposure to negative school environments compared with girls. Yeah, it's because of the lack of the father or a father figure while growing up. These boys are just not learning to be men. They're not learning to be men. And in high school, boys reported significantly higher rates of grade repetition and lower educational expectations because they lacked the motivation and desire to be there, right? Because they don't have that father figure in the household to, discipline them. I actually hated school growing up. I did well in school, but I hated, grammar school and high school. And I went to top-notch grammar schools and high school. I went to a top-notch grammar school, which is what I'm trying to say, in high school. I can't even talk, sorry. And, got a good education, but I really was lacking motivation at times. And whenever I would, lack that motivation, my father would come in and whoop my butt. And it got me back on the right track. Without my father doing that, I would have probably failed. So I thank my father, who's passed away. He's been passed away for 13 years now. I thank my father for that. My mother's still around, and she's an amazing woman. My mother did her part, raising my brother and I, to be good guys, good men. But my father did his part too. It takes both. Let's see here. Given that boys are more likely to be held back and punished, it is easy to understand why teachers might approach male students with certain unconscious biases, which may translate into self-fulfilling outcomes. Okay? Imagine being bombarded with a constant chorus of pay attention, stop fidgeting, don't touch that. Yet that's what many of our boys experience in school every day because they're not being disciplined at home. The mother may try to discipline them, but it's much more difficult for a mom to discipline, a little boy than it is for their father. That's just a fact there. And that's how it was when my brother and I were growing up. My mother was the nurturing one and my father was the enforcer. And when my father came around, I knew he meant business. If I was slacking off and my father came around, I turned it around quick or I would get the belt. Nowadays, you can't give a child the belt because, they'll say it's child abuse and you'll go to jail. But no, the belt is what made me the man I am today. And I thank you, Dad, for giving me the belt many times. And I deserved it. I did. I'm not suggesting that school structure should be relaxed. A structured learning environment is very important for boys, but this can be achieved in concert with using teaching techniques that work especially well for boys. Yeah, the schools have to do something about this at a school level. Maybe hire more male teachers, or teach them how to be men, because they're not getting that nowadays growing up, because a lot of these boys either don't have a father in the picture or they have a more feminized father and a more masculine type of mother, which again confuses the little boy. Then these boys, grow up and they end up acting more feminine and less masculine. Yeah, that's what's going on nowadays. It's crazy. And it all stems, back to women's lib. And again, like I've said in many of my past videos and live streams that I've done, I'm all for women being liberated and having equal rights. I understand that. But it is because of women being liberated and now both men and women working, the dynamic of the household has changed. The dynamic of the traditional household has changed. This is what's going on. And it's probably only going to get worse unless something is done about it at a school level or even at a government level. Craft lessons with boys in mind. We know that boys benefit from introducing lessons through dramatic points of entry that grab their attention. We know that boys are kinesthetic learners who benefit from hands-on activities where they learn by touch, exploration, and manipulation. Yeah, boys, we don't like to read shit. We don't like to go over lessons. We like to work with our hands and fix things and build things and explore on our own. So there's got to be a better way, to teach these little boys and get them motivated. The absence of these opportunities during the pandemic, when so many students were learning online, has had a considerable impact on educational advancement, especially so for boys. So for boys. In all boys' schools and classrooms where teachers are focused on the unique social, emotional, and learning needs of boys, young men are thriving. But I'm not issuing a rallying cry to nationalize single-gender education. I wouldn't do that. Now, I went to an all-boys, private high school, and I didn't really like the fact that there weren't women there. But that's just the way it was. But we actually collaborated with two nearby all-girls private high schools. We did a lot of social events with the all-girls high schools. And so we had interactions with females. But I honestly think it's very important that, there's more of a focus on, coeducation. I'm not a big fan of an all gender school. I've never been a big fan of it, but it is what it is. It didn't really affect me because I had a great upbringing. I got a job when I was 15 and a half during my freshman year in high school, and I met some friends from a nearby high school that introduced me to a nice young lady, and I had a girlfriend, and I had a great experience, right? So, it didn't really affect me that I went to an all-boys high school, but it could have affected me had I not had a good upbringing and had I not had friends from getting a job at that young of an age that introduced me to a good woman, to date throughout those years. So I'm not a big fan of all gender education, and that's just my opinion. All boys and all girls schools work well for some students and not as well for others. I think it will affect everyone, in my opinion. Exploring different schooling options for your child is just common sense. Okay, yeah. I was forced to go to an all-boys private high school, and so was my brother. My dad wanted us to get the best education, right? We wanted to go to our local public high school where we knew many of the boys and girls there, but that's not what my father wanted. So, and I'm grateful and thankful that my father actually, put me through a private high school education at one of the best high schools in the country, Sarah High School in San Mateo, California. A lot of famous athletes came from there. Barry Bonds, remember the former Giant that hit 73 homers? Lynn Swann, Greg Jeffries, I believe he used to play for the Phillies, and Tom Brady as well. They all came out of Sarah High School. Let's see. What I am saying is that within almost any school setting, there's room to improve our practices to ensure boys aren't being unintentionally marginalized or excluded. Working to make our classrooms more boy-friendly is an important step in resolving the crisis young men face in our country. Yeah, I think let me go back to full screen here. I think what's really going on today is there's been a greater shift of helping women rise up and get an education. And it's further left men behind. I don't think this is the only thing that's left men behind, but one of the major things, again, is the fact that, now that women are liberated and, they want to, have careers like men have always had, women are very focused on school. And they're doing quite well, and they're getting more degrees than men, and they're getting more prominent jobs than men, and they're out-earning men. That's not the only issue. The other issue is the lack of having a father figure, whether it's the biological father or some father figure in the household along with the mother while growing up. It's those two things right there that are affecting most men nowadays. And I really, really do hope something is done by the government and the school system to turn this around. Because if not, I'll tell you what's going to happen. And again, I'm all for women rising up, right? But women are going to completely surpass men. What's going to happen is women are going to become men, and men are going to become women. You're going to have the majority of households, have the provider be the woman. The woman's going to be the provider, the breadwinner, and everything. And the men are going to be like the house husbands. And it's just going to create a world of shit because women don't respect men that they can't look up to for, being able to provide and their, emotional strength. And if you have women that are providing more than men financially and women that are stronger than men emotionally, then what's the purpose of a man? Women are not going to be attracted to any man they perceive to be weaker than them or, has less than them, right? So, yeah, we got to do something to figure this out. This has been one of the most hottest topics that I always talk about. Fortunately for me, I've got a great woman. She's 47 years old. I'm 48 years old. We grew up during a different time, and we have an amazing relationship. But you young guys, 40 and under, even you younger guys in your teens and 20s, oh my gosh, I can understand how much you're probably struggling. And if you guys need help, as long as you're, 18 years of age and older, I can help you get on the right track and accomplish whatever it is that your heart desires. Just go below in the description and find out how you can reach out to me. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Another video is coming to this channel soon. Please like, share, subscribe, bang the bell, select all notifications. Also, make sure you go below in the description and subscribe to my other channel as well, Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams, where I do regular streams. Sometimes they include my girlfriend and sometimes they're just me. So make sure you go below in the description and subscribe to Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams. Bang the bell while you're there as well, and then select all notifications so that way you won't miss anything when I go live or put out a pre-recorded video on either of my channels. With that being said, have yourselves a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.